Hello and welcome to episode 76 of the Casual Tryhard podcast. I'm Brian.
And I'm James.
And you can see us.
Yeah, in Technicolor.
Yes, we have decided to do this episode like every meeting in class you've taken since March via,
Sorry about that.
Via Zoom. So if you're having flashbacks to, I don't know, seeing your boss with no pants on, I'm sorry.
How'd you know I wasn't wearing pants?
I just assumed.
I did put a shirt on though, unlike last night.
Yeah, we were testing and we just like he was either in a tube top or shirtless. I just saw like bare shoulders, so I was assuming he
You got
was
to
shirtless.
see my lung sweaters though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so,
that's an image that's stuck in your head now.
Yes. So we're gonna do it this way. We have slides for everything to kind of talk through all the cards, so we could do our normal like video set preview.
Juan, the friend of ours that normally does our preset video stuff, was super tied up this week. They had a prior engagement, some online convention or something.
Yeah.
So unfortunately he couldn't help us out, but we're assuming you guys like the video episode, so we're gonna put one out anyway. It'll be on our YouTube channel if you're listening to us and want to check it out there.
Yeah, that's just search Casual Tryhard MTG on YouTube and we will pop up.
Yep.
We will assume that I put music in this and everything, that it was semi-professional. So if you want to tweet at us about what you're excited about for Core 21, you can get us at Casual Tripod on Twitter.
Yep. You can hit us up on Facebook at Casual Tryhard MTG. You can either post on our page, shoot us a message, whatever you want to do. If you want to get us through email, it's show@casualtryhardmtg.com. I check our email all the time, so don't hesitate to drop us one. I think that's how most people are like interacting, although that's kind of died off a little bit now that we have our Discord server.
Yeah, we do get some people talking in the Discord.
Yep. So you can check us out there. It's Casual Tryhard MTG. There's a link on our Twitter, a link on our Facebook. There's a link in the description. If you can't find a link, you can hit me up on email or Facebook or whatever, and I will send you a personal invite.
There you go.
We also have a TCG affiliate link. If you want to help support the show a little bit, maybe pre-order some of these sweet Core 21 cards. It's tcg.casualtryhardmtg.com. After you follow that link, we will get a very small sliver of whatever you decide to purchase.
Just a taste.
Yeah, just a taste.
Go ahead. No.
All right. If you want to support us a little bit more directly, you can do that at patreon.com/casualtryhardmtg. We don't have too many Patreon perks. We're still kind of feeling things out a little bit, but we do have a Patreon-only finance room in our Discord server where we talk about specs and that sorts of thing. And we also do a little bit of pre-show that's posted up on our Patreon. That's not posted anywhere else. You have to be a Patreon to check that out, and it's only on the Patreon page.
Yes. So this week it'll be a little video.
Mm-hmm.
So you get that to look forward to. So we're going to go through the mechanics. Not that there are any new like evergreen mechanics or new keywords, but just like what the gold uncommons are kind of doing or telling you to do in limited, and to give you an idea of what some of the cards want to do just in general that might show up in constructed.
Yeah, some of the pros refer to these as signpost uncommons, and they are ever present. Every set has normally a cycle of uncommon gold cards for each color pair or each color, whatever they're trying to convey in the set. And you can kind of look at them and tell what direction like you're going to be building that deck in.
Yeah. So let's get started. Go. Let us.
Some of these are pretty straightforward. Some of them are kind of reaching a little bit, so bear with us as we work through these for you.
Yeah, look at this graphics department we got going here.
Whew.
Yeah, all right.
Fantastic.
So first up, come on, baby. No. First up, We have green white, which is the +1/+1 counters theme.
Yeah.
We have Conclave Mentor as kind of the card for that.
Mm-hmm.
And if you remember Aether Revolt, this is kind of just Winding Constrictor
Yeah,
with one
Winding
less
Constrictor.
toughness.
Yeah, Winding Constrictor worked for any counters, right?
Worked for, I guess, if a creature or player, right? Was that
Yeah.
the...
Yeah.
So it worked to increase the amount of energy you got.
Yeah, but it was specifically any counter, not just +1/+1 counters. So it worked for energy. It worked for neg1 counters.
Okay, yeah.
I guess it would work for keyword counters for Mycoria.
You get 2.
Ooh.
Ooh. But for the most part, Winding Constrictor is just used for +1/+1 counters and like
For the most part, yeah.
in constructed.
Mhm.
This card could have a home if the green black decks wanted to be green white, but the fact that it's a 2/2 just makes it that much more vulnerable to like shock
Yeah.
and wild slash in older formats,
Yep.
which kind of hurts it. But I don't know what you would get other than better sideboard cards.
Going white, you mean?
Going white over black.
Well, you'd get one more +1/+1 counter.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't know if people like this is a card that you could see like people could try being Abzon in
Yeah.
those +1/+1 counter decks to have 8 of this, or 12 if you count hardened scales
Right.
of this effect. So, but this is what white and green decks are trying to do, is put counters on things.
Yep.
So next we have red black.
Yep. And surprise, surprise, it's another set with red black sacrifice being the theme for the red black decks.
Imagine that.
Yeah. We've had a whole bunch of them lately. This one doesn't seem too egregious for constructed.
No.
The sacrifice decks have been a little bit out of control. Like they certainly have spikes where they're really good. This one I don't think is constructed playable, but maybe it'll
No.
surprise me.
No,
It's
like,
no, go ahead.
I was gonna say the fact that it's like +2/+2 in trample, like I feel like there's been a lot of like things similar to this that don't see play.
Yeah. Was it a Fireblade Artisan in Allegiance?
That's
Saw a little bit of play and was kind of similar to this. But
well, Slaughter Priest of Mogus is a 2/2 that is for red black, that when you sack something, it gets +2/+0.
yeah, the Fireblade has haste and does 2 damage instead.
Yeah, when you sacrifice something, but it lets you sack something on your upkeep or sack a creature on your upkeep.
Sack a creature on your upkeep, I think.
Yeah, so I don't know if this is going to be something that's going to see play.
Yeah.
And I didn't see any like really pushed sacrifice cards in the rest of the set.
Yeah, I didn't either.
So if you want to play red, black, or Gen Sacrifice, you're probably just stuck with the deck you have.
Which is fine. That deck's plenty good by itself.
So Experimental Overload.
Yep, it's the blue-red signpost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's going to create an XX blue and red weird creature token.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah, it is weird. Where X is the number of instants and sorceries in your graveyard, and then you can return an instant or sorcery card from your graveyard to your hand, and you exile this. So this is similar to, I can't remember the name of it. We talked about it the other week. The card that amassed for one red blue.
Yep.
And amass equal to the number of instants and sorceries you have in your
Invade
graveyard.
the city?
Maybe it's Invade the City. Yeah. Something like that.
Yep, something like that.
Card saw Stone 0 play.
Right.
And
yeah, typically this is a really fun deck for limited environments. It rarely shows up in, I'm not going to say constructed, because there is like, is it Spell Slinger?
Yeah.
Like Eternal decks, but not really in standard too often.
Yeah, and this effect usually doesn't make it into those kind of decks where you like use a card to turn like your spent spells into a big body. It gets bounced by Teferi.
Right.
So, yeah. But again, I don't think there were any like egregious blue-red spells cards that would like push a constructed deck.
Yeah, no, nothing for constructed, I don't think.
It's so sad. Remember how excited I was for Thousand Year Storm? I was like, this is great.
Mm-hmm.
And that card has seen zero play and has gotten like no support.
Right.
Like nothing to even like make the card even like close to playable.
Yeah.
Just like, oh, poor buddy. All right. Next up, a black-white life gain card.
Yeah, surprise, surprise.
Surprise, surprise, yeah. Indulging Patrician?
Yep. It's one white black for a 1/4 flying lifelink. And at the beginning of your end step, if you gain 3 or more life this turn, each opponent loses 3 life.
There's I think this theme is pretty well supported in the set. Like there's a mythic or a rare that we're going to talk about later on that wants you to gain life.
Mm-hmm. There's actually a couple of them that do. And the like mono white decks currently in standard have a pretty strong life game like element to them with the Johnny's Pride Mates and Heliod and Daxos. So it wouldn't surprise me if they started splashing black for some of this like ancillary life gain stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know if this card in particular is strong enough to make it in constructed, but
yeah, like this is always kind of a theme of black white, and it's rare that it shows up in constructed.
Yeah,
because you're usually like it's kind of a nickel and dimey kind of thing, or you're gonna gain a life and deal a damage, and oftentimes that's not like worth that much.
Yeah. Like the one thing that this card does have going for it though is like Lightning Helix is a pretty decent sized swing.
Yeah.
And it's not super hard to gain like 3 life in a turn. So
It's
if you
not.
have like this guy and a Healer's Hawk and then you play a Daxos, like that's 3 life.
Yeah. Or just like sacking a food token.
Yep.
If you make food
also,
somehow.
Oh, I forgot about food. Yeah.
Yeah, so food is 3 life. So there might be something here, but this is usually ends up being like a tier 2 kind of strategy.
Yeah.
Leafkin Avenger. 2 red green.
Go ahead.
2 red green for a 4/3. So we have an aggro mana dork.
Just what you want, right?
Just what you want. I want my mana dork to come down on turn 4 because I'm trying to ramp into 6 drops. I don't know. Like,
sure.
So red green is big monsters.
Yeah. If anyone was playing during like Khan's block, this is ferocious, so it cares about things with power 4 or greater.
Yeah.
This card in particular is a little bit interesting because, like you said, you don't really want your 4 drops to be your mana dorks. But this can also use its own mana.
Yeah.
So it's a mana sink and a mana dork.
And if you have big enough things, it's going to tap for 3 or 4 mana.
Yeah.
But on some level, like you're winning the game if you've got like 3-4 power creatures.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Khan's block, a simpler time.
Some would say the best time.
Yes, some of the best times. All right. Sweet. A 3-drop with no power. We're doing it.
Yeah. 3 mana, 0/3. This is a
Nice.
Obsessive Stitcher. It's a 1 blue-black for a 0/3 human wizard. You can tap it to draw a card, then discard a card. You can pay 2 blue-black, tap it, sacrifice it, return a creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield.
So the loot effect in limited is really powerful.
Yep.
I mean, the bringing something back for 4 is below the rate that the current reanimation spells normally do that.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that it's like the tap effect on a creature makes it so this creature is super vulnerable. Like you might not get to do the reanimation thing.
Normally when you have this stapled onto a creature, though, it's at sorcery speed.
Yeah.
This isn't. So you can like declare this as a block and then reanimate some big fatty from your graveyard, and
Yeah.
then attack with it your next turn.
Yeah, that's a good point. I hadn't thought of that, but I was just
Yeah.
thinking more of like trying to get an 0-4 through the turn cycle.
Right, yeah. 03.
0-3, yeah. 0-4 would be better.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is fine. Again, there's nothing in blue and black that are really going to push you towards reanimation in constructed.
Yeah, like most of your targets for this are probably going to be around like 5 or 6 mana, and
Yeah.
you end up sinking 7 mana into this to do it, so you're not really gaining anything other than maybe a card if you use the loot.
Yeah. And I mean, since they're both tap abilities, it really makes it kind of hard to so you can loot something into your graveyard and then bring it back.
Right.
You have to tap for both.
Yeah. When I was going through these, making the show notes also, I was trying to like see what other cards were supporting them, because some of these aren't super straightforward. Like obviously this one wants you to like put things in your graveyard and reanimate them. But when I was going through the card file, there's not a whole lot else that like supports this.
There's like 1 5-mana reanimation spell.
Yeah. But there's no like great payoff.
Yeah. There's no Agent of Treachery
Right.
to reanimate or something like that.
Yep.
So next up is just so leading and so great for limited. Kill something.
Yeah.
Green, black, play removal spells.
Woohoo, I'm in.
Yeah.
This is James the Archetype.
Yes. Twin Blade Assassins.
Mm-hmm.
It's a 5/4 for 3 green, black.
No, so it's a fire elemental?
Yes. And at the beginning of your end step, if a creature died this turn, draw a card.
Yep.
So it doesn't say what creature.
Right.
And I mean, you could or how it died. You could sacrifice it. It could be yours. It could be your opponent's.
Mm-hmm.
But again, 5 mana, not getting the job done.
I don't know. Like Moldervine Reclamation was pretty good and limited.
Oh no, in limited, yeah. But
Yeah.
Moldervine Reclamation wasn't limited to 1 card a turn.
Oh, that's true.
And this is limited only to your turn, so you can't chump block and get a card.
Oh, yeah, that's also true.
Yeah, I mean, the trade-off is this is actually a body.
Right.
Where Moldervine Reclamation was like, take turn 5, do nothing.
Yeah.
Hope to get value later. This is at least a body.
Yeah. Unlike the last one, though, like there are other cards that care about things dying in the set.
And there's some Death Touch things as well, right? That care about Death Touch.
Yep.
Yeah.
So this one might be a little bit more well supported than the self-mill reanimate thing that we just talked about.
Yeah. All right. So I think that is most of the. I guess there's one more. Oh no, 2 more.
No, there's a couple more.
There we go. Hey, we have a blue-white Flyers archetype. Maybe
I don't believe it.
You don't believe it?
Yeah.
So this is blue-white for a 2/2.
Mm-hmm.
Creature spells with flying that you cast cost 1 less to cast. And whenever creature with flying enters the battlefield under your control, your boy here gets +1/+1 till the end of turn.
Yeah. I mean, this thing's pretty good.
It's fine. I mean, it's a 2/2 flyer for 2 is at or above rate.
Mm-hmm. And the ever-present 3/4 flyer for 5 that scries is pretty good when it only costs 4.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if that's actually in the set, but it seems like there's always some sort of 3/4 flyer for 5, right?
Yeah, I mean, this could be, a constructed playable card.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You go, like, for the next 3 months, you go, like, Healer's Hawk or Spectral Sailor into this, into Empyrean Eagle and a 2-drop and, like, a Hushbringer.
Yeah.
And now you've got this big flying board, and you're trying to rally of wings someone at the end of the game.
Yep. That big angel's still in standard too, right?
Yeah, the 4 white. You tap 4 flyers and pay a little bit of mana.
Yep.
It's still around.
Yep.
It's in the cube.
It's in the cube.
It's in the cube. Hey, it's a dog guy.
Yeah, I think red white is dog tribal.
Weird.
I think that most of the dogs are in red and white.
Okay.
I think most of them are centered around white, and then some of like Chandra's friends are like elemental dogs or whatever.
Okay.
And this thing obviously wants you to play dogs. It lets you tutor for dogs and like buffs the number or gets buffed by the number of things that are attacking.
We
So,
are we are editing on the fly here.
oh,
This is high quality work here, guys.
what's the matter?
I didn't like my lighting.
Oh, okay.
Trying to give people more of this beautiful face.
There you go.
I don't know if that
How-
improves it or not. Now I just can't see the screen, but it's fine. I'm lit better, I think.
Well, you're lit.
There you go. Lit AF. I'm too old
Yeah.
to say that. And then we have blue green draw a card.
Is it just draw a card? I think it's draw 2 cards.
I
There's a
think
lot of green stuff that triggers for drawing your second card, which is really strange because that was like a blue-red archetype not too long ago.
Yeah. I'm like, why does green get to be everything?
Yeah, green just does everything.
Yeah, no, I saw that and I was like, why is this the archetype for why is this a green card?
I don't
Like-
know. Like I said, there are a lot of like mono green cards that trigger for
On-
drawing cards like on your opponent's turn. I
Yeah,
think,
it's like,
right?
hey, this 4/6 becomes a 6/6 trampler.
Yeah.
If you draw your second card.
Yeah.
So Lord Scale Coatl is an oldie.
Yeah, it's a reprint.
I mean, this used to be stuff that like Standard Magic was about.
Mm-hmm.
You play your thing and then you start like casting ops or brainstorms
Mhm.
and you make it real big.
Yep.
That will not fly in current Standard.
Yeah, we're going to return to this towards the end of the show, so keep this in mind.
Okay. So we're gonna
So now
start.
we have some real cards.
So these are the cards that we found interesting.
Mhm.
Some for constructed, for like Standard, some for maybe Commander.
Yep, some stuff that you guys wanted to hear about.
Yeah. So first up is a blue card, so I'll read it so you don't have to talk about islands too much.
I actually really like this card.
Okay.
So
Sublime
I'm going to hate it cast against me, but
Sublime Epiphany, 4 blue,
Mhm.
and this is a rare, it's an instant, and it says choose one or more.
Right.
So counter target spell,
Okay.
counter target activated or triggered ability,
Okay.
return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand,
Uh-huh.
create a token that's a copy of a creature you control,
Uh-huh.
target player draws the card.
Yeah. There's a lot of text on this card, and you can choose as many of those as you want. So you could technically choose all of them.
Right. I think that kind of the default mode for this, if it resolves in Standard, is going to be like counter bounce draw card.
Yeah, either counter bounce draw a card or counter bounce make a copy draw a card.
Yeah. But it's going to be some combination of those options for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
Like the odds of you being able to counter a spell and stifle something.
Right. Yeah, that's slim to none.
Yeah, I mean, it takes care of all parts of a Hydroid Crisis. All
That's true.
parts.
That is true.
So, yeah, I have heard people bring up the fact that like this card's kind of unplayable if mystical disputes in the format.
Yeah.
Right? Like you tap your 6 mana and they tap 1 mana and blow you all the way out.
Right. But if this resolves, like that will just end a game.
Yeah. But I worry that was it like Mystical Dispute's like one of the most main decked cards in Standard.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's just super risky to play something like this.
That's true.
Yeah. Now, like in let's say Commander, right? Like this will probably resolve.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And when it does, it'll be super powerful. If you're like countering one person's spell, bouncing someone else's permanent, copying one of your creatures. All these things seem good.
What do you think about this in Pioneer? It's like Pioneer's cryptic command, right?
Yeah, but it costs 6. Like if it cost 5, maybe. But like
You don't
6,
think this is playing like blue white control in Pioneer? I bet you it does.
maybe like 1.
Yeah, like
You
a
can't.
2 of, I think.
Yeah, you can't have a ton of these in your deck. A ton of like 6-mana counters.
Right.
But I mean, it will catch you up.
Yeah. And you
So
also get Gear Hulk in Pioneer.
yeah, I mean, if you get to like cast one of these off a Gear Hulk,
Mm-hmm.
like that's like you've lived the dream.
Oh, you could cast this, copy your Gear Hulk, and flash it back.
You could,
Yeah.
or you flash in your Gear Hulk, you cast this, you
Oh, you can
cut.
make a copy and bounce it.
Yeah, you,
Whew.
Gear Hulk exiles this though, so you don't get to do that like once, but
That's all you need.
it'd just be a glorious like. I'm gonna have a Gear Hulk. I'm gonna put this other Gear Hulk in my hand, and the Gear Hulk I copied is going to cast my hieroglyphic illuminations that I cycled on turn 1.
Yes.
It's like a 75 for 1. I think we're done here.
Yeah.
So I think standard it has some issues because of Mystical Dispute,
Mm-hmm.
but it is like undeniably powerful.
Okay.
And like, if your blue opponent at your like, pre-release or when you're playing pre-release on Arena passes with 6 mana,
Mm-hmm.
just have in the back of your mind that you could get blown all the way out.
Yeah, I mean, you can't really play around it either, though.
No, it's a rare. It is super hard to play around, but like you just like slam your card into it, and then you're just like, oh,
Well, that's what I mean. Like, what are you going to do? Nothing?
yeah, no, it's true.
You can't just do nothing. Like, if they have it, they're going to blow you out. There's not really
Much you can do. Yeah.
I think the card's really good. I
I
want
have-
to talk about it because I think it's cool, and I don't think too many blue cards are cool. So
I also have no idea what's going on in this art.
yeah, it's really strange.
Is it
She's
just, like,
having a sublime epiphany.
apparently like there's just like a layered like pool in her
Yeah.
brain, and there's like
Something.
a dude on her finger. I don't know what's going on. It's weird. All right, next up, Teferi, Master of Time.
Yeah.
The only card in the set with phasing.
This is true. Oh yeah, I forgot.
Only card
Yeah. They brought phasing back for this one card.
for this one card. So I guess that's how you get around the storm scale. You just slap it on a mythic,
Right.
and you're like, no one's gonna have to deal with this in limited.
Yeah.
And people that are playing constructed, they just have to figure it out.
Yeah. YOLO, whatever.
So, Fairy Master of Time, 2 blue for a 3 loyalty planeswalker.
Mm-hmm.
It has the static ability. You may activate loyalty abilities of Teferi, Master of Time on any player's turn.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime you could play an instant.
So, yep, basically Flash.
Yeah, so basically in a 1v1 game, every turn cycle you get to activate Teferi twice.
Mm-hmm.
+1, draw a card, then discard.
Mm-hmm.
-3, target creature you don't control phases out.
Right.
And then -10, take 2 extra turns after this one.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
So,
now, like I included this. I know we talked about this twice now on the show. So I included this not necessarily to talk about this card in particular, because like I said, we've talked about it twice now.
okay.
But just this being present in the format, like what does this do to the format?
I don't
Like, is this
know.
another 3-mana Teferi where it just warps the whole format around it and creatures are bad and removal's
No.
bad and
No. Right? I mean, the fact that Teferi made it so you couldn't do something or just
Right.
like erased an entire type of card
Mhm.
from the format,
right.
like this doesn't do that. And like the fact that it phases
Mhm.
out your creature. Now, one, if you have a Teferi, you have to do the minus on your opponent's turn.
Yeah, otherwise they still get the creature.
Yeah, otherwise it just comes back. And when something phases out and phases back in, it doesn't become summoning sick.
Right.
It just wasn't there, but then it is there, but it was there. I guess it comes back on the untap, so it's there through an upkeep.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how it gets around being summoning sick.
Yep.
So you have to do the minus on your opponent's turn.
Right.
And the fact that you don't have to repay the mana isn't like as punishing as 3 mana Teferi, where it was like bounce and they like ate your third turn and drew a card.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that's another thing is this is kind of a tempo swing like the other Teferi was, but at least they're not up a card when you answer this.
They're not up a card. You can answer it at instant speed.
Yeah.
So your opponent plays their Teferi, and then you can just play Eat to Extinction.
Right.
And you get to play your next turn.
Mm-hmm.
As opposed to they play their Teferi, you stare at your instant, and then you have to waste your next turn.
Right.
So I think this is probably worse than 3 mana Teferi.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's probably playable, but it's definitely not a like thing that's going to define the format, I don't think.
Yeah, those were pretty much my thoughts exactly. I had heard, not a lot, but I had heard some chatter around the interwebs about, oh no, another Teferi, like this is so bad for the format, whatever. And that was not my opinion. I think some of that was just from having 2 like format warping Teferis in a row in standard. And I don't think people need to be as scared of this Teferi as the previous ones.
I think when we talked about it before, I said that the other 2 Teferis were doing a lot of heavy lifting on its pre-sale price.
Yeah.
Like it was pre-selling for like $40. I don't know what it's at now.
Yeah,
but it did not strike me as a $40 planeswalker.
No.
That's going to like warp the entire format around it.
Yep.
So I think this one's probably safe. And the fact that the plus is just card selection and not card advantage is also an important distinction.
Like the decks that are going to play this, though, card selection is almost card advantage, though.
This is true. But like if you have your 5th land in your hand and you plus this, you don't want to discard that land for a spell.
True.
Right. So then you're kind of throwing away a spell that is okay, but it's still a spell you would probably use.
Well, yeah, I mean, maybe though. Like Marshall and LSV had this argument on limited resource at one point, like how much is a loot worth? And it depends on, what's off the top of your deck. Like if the top of your deck is a land and you already have your next land, like this is worth slightly more than it would be normally because you get to get through that land. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But it's
or if that next card is another Teferi, then obviously you don't need 2 Teferis.
But it's worse than if it were just like +1 draw card.
Right. Yeah.
Right. And like this could have easily just been +1 draw card.
Mm-hmm.
And that would have probably been too good if it was drawing you 2 cards a turn.
Oh yeah, that would have been way too good.
If it was effectively +2 draw 2.
Yeah.
Would have been too much.
Yeah, that's terrifying.
Right. Okay. Next up, we have Teferi's Tutelage.
Yeah.
Ooh, sweet uncommon.
Curveball.
Yeah.
I knew you weren't expecting this one.
Yeah. So it's 2 and a blue for an enchantment that says when it enters the battlefield, draw a card and discard a card.
Okay.
And whenever you draw a card, target opponent mills 2 cards.
Yeah, they keyworded mill. That's fun.
They did. I have been playing a lot of Psychic Corrosion in the Arena Cube. I don't know if Psychic Corrosion got played, in Standard.
A little bit. I ran across it every once in a while.
And there was Sphinx's Tutelage, which would mill them for 2 when you drew a card, and if the 2 cards shared a color,
you repeated the process.
You repeat it. And that card got played in some like tier F modern decks.
Yep.
So this is a card that's interesting, but probably more interesting, not so much for what it does to the format, but for the fact that it says mill.
We have a lot of different kinds of listeners. And
Okay.
I think that there are strategies that could use this pretty well. One of them being cycling.
Yeah, as like an alternate win con.
Well, not just an alternate win con. Oh, yeah, I guess it is target opponent. So, yeah, it would be like an alternate win con then, yes.
Yeah, where you just
I
like
was thinking you can mill yourself, but
and just make your things real big.
yeah.
Giant Zenith flares.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's target opponent.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's like the rest of the tools in standard for a mill deck, but
Well, you got Secret Keeper and, like you said, Psychic Corrosion.
Psychic Corrosion currently in standard?
Yeah, isn't that the one from Guilds or whatever?
No, that's Drowned Secrets.
Oh, that's the one I was thinking of.
When
Which
you
one's
cast,
Psychic Corrosion?
it's 2 and a blue. Whenever you draw a card, target opponent mills 2.
Oh, okay.
So it's this without the loot.
Yeah.
So like this is a strictly better Psychic Corrosion.
Yep.
Because of the loot, because it mills them when it comes into play,
Right.
as opposed to Psychic Corrosion, which just is like, yo, I'm Psychic
It just
Corrosion.
comes into play.
Yeah, it just comes into play.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I was thinking of Drowned Secrets.
Yeah, Drowned
Yeah,
Secrets.
so you have Drowned Secrets, you have this, you have
Secret Keeper.
Secret Keeper,
Didn't
Ventress
say
Gargoyle.
please. Didn't say
Yeah.
please. The 1-drop blue creature that mills them for 2 and you scry 2. So
Yep.
1/2.
And you get the
Yeah.
Gargoyle.
Yeah, I mean there's something there, but those decks typically aren't great. But if that's your jam,
And
this
especially
helps
now
you.
when there's graveyard decks in the format, and if Uro's everywhere, then that's kind of a feel bad.
I feel like Uro is going to be everywhere.
Yeah.
We're trying to get to a certain 8-drop, I think.
Yep.
This card's dumb and shows me they did not play test Loris.
Yeah, exactly. I think this card's good though, like even with Loris not in the format.
I agree. They just did not play test Loris at all.
Yeah.
So what does this do? What am I angry about?
This is Archfiend's Vessel. It's a single black mana for a 1/1 human cleric with lifelink. And when Archfiend's Vessel enters the battlefield, if it entered from your graveyard or you cast it from your graveyard, exile it. If you do, create a 5/5 black demon token with flying.
So if it's in your graveyard somehow,
Yep.
and then you bring it back, you just get a 5/5. Again, they printed Loris.
Right.
Maybe, arguably, in the top 20 of all-time Magic cards.
Yeah, definitely. No argument here.
Maybe top 10 of all-time Magic cards. Like we're like,
still no argument here.
yeah, we're like the
Card
power.
is absurd.
The power 9 Loris and Oko are like jockeying for position.
Oh yeah, they're fighting with a time vault.
Yeah. So we print that, and then we're like, man, you know what it needs? Some help.
5/5s.
It needs 1 mana 5/5s.
Yeah.
No, they need to be able to chump block, and then on turn 4 play a 3/2 lifelinker and play a 1 mana 5/5.
Yep.
We don't want it to be like behind. So yeah, this card seems strong.
Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff to play with it in standard right now. You have Call of the Death Dweller.
Yeah, which I think is great for this.
You also have Nethroi, which reanimates when it mutates, reanimates a whole bunch of stuff. We still have Blood for Bones.
Yeah.
So you can sack this for Blood for Bones and then bring it back, and you get a 5/5, and you returned another creature from your hand.
Yeah.
And we still have Cavalier and Knight also.
Yeah, that when it dies, it brings something back.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that those are all reasonable things to do with this.
Mhm.
And I'm sure there is a so in Pioneer there was the black white like zombie Rally the Ancestors.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Was it Return to the Ranks or the one that has Convoke?
Yeah,
right?
it was Return to the Ranks.
Yeah. So this is something that you self-mill it or something, and instead of like getting a bunch of like enters the battlefield like zombie related triggers,
right,
you just make a 5/5. Just instant speed, 3 mana 5/5 with a bunch of friends.
Yep. 5/5 will end a game quick.
Yeah. And if you God forbid, get like two of them, like
Oh yeah,
yeah. So
GG's.
yeah, this is a card that will do some powerful things if you're able to build around it.
Mhm.
It's just are the things that you have to do to build around it, like does it allow you to be competitive?
Well, I think a lot of what you're trying to do with this guy, we were already trying to do in standard anyway, right?
Yeah. I mean, we weren't bringing stuff back,
Right.
but yeah, you're just trying to fill your graveyard and then get him back out somehow.
Hmm.
And however you do that, there's not good ways in standard right now to like get things back en masse,
That's true.
other than like again like call the Death Dweller.
Mhm.
If you play one of these and chump, and then you Mire Triton in mill one,
Right.
and you just get 10 mana, you get 10 power for 3 mana.
Hmm.
Right, like you just win that game.
Yeah.
Like there's not a whole lot anyone does,
Yep.
but you know, it's it's gonna just be difficult to see that like being consistent.
Is there still like a red black called the Death Dweller Croxa deck?
Not that I've seen as of late.
Yeah.
Um,
That was a deck for a little bit though.
oh no, it was, and I think like yeah,
And
like
this guy fits into that strategy pretty well.
yeah, you like again, like you can chump block with this somehow, like this
Yeah,
into
or mill it.
Croaks. Yeah, but this into Croxa into flashback at Croxa, get a five
Mhm.
five.
Yeah, that deck for a little while was playing Cathartic Reunion too.
Okay,
So another way to get this in the yard.
yeah, but you just don't want to like bring it back with like the reanimation spells that cost like 4 or 5 mana.
Yeah, then it's not really worth it.
Yeah, then you're not like because you're there's 5 mana 5/5s. There's a 5 mana 6/6 trample vigilance
Yeah, right.
whatever that we're
Yeah,
like that's probably not playable.
right.
So getting these back, getting 5/5s for 2 or 3 mana is where you want to be.
Hmm.
Also, remember Claim Fame?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this gets claimed,
Ooh,
and then you can give the demon haste.
haste.
Yeah.
Yeah, buddy.
So
Send me up for that.
yeah, I mean there's something here.
Yeah.
So it's just finding the right home, but I think this card is something that people are gonna like run into.
Hmm. It's cool. I like it.
Hey,
Hey, your boy's back.
this might be one of my greatest calls in Magic.
This is a Kite Sail Freebooter.
Yeah.
Reprint from Ixalan. 1 and a black for a 1/2 flyer. When it enters the battlefield, you look at your opponent's hand and choose a non-creature, non-land card from it. Exile it until Kite Sail Freebooter leaves the battlefield.
So 1/2 flyer.
Mm-hmm.
So when this got printed in Ixalan, I was like, huh, does this make Modern Humans a deck? Because now it has like some interaction.
Mm-hmm.
And this plus unclaimed territory made
Yeah,
Modern Humans a deck.
it did. The answer was
So
yes.
yeah. I think this is a good card to have in standard.
Yeah.
This could with like Gray Merchant and some of the other cards that are currently in standard
Mm-hmm.
make like a mono black devotion style deck like viable.
Yeah. This card also plays pretty well in like tempo strategies.
Yeah,
So
where you're able to like just get a removal spell and then get some damage in.
yeah, like if you play this on turn 2 and grab the only 3-drop in their hand, like I mean that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Buys you a turn.
Next up, this is your card here.
This is Liliana Waker of the Dead. It's 2 black, 4 loyalty, +1. Each player discards a card. Each opponent who can't loses 3 life. -3. Target creature gets neg X till end of turn, where X is the number of cards in your graveyard. -7, you get an emblem with at the beginning of combat on your turn, put target creature card from a graveyard, not just yours, onto the battlefield under your control and give it haste. This card is fantastic. This is so close to Liliana the Veil.
Yeah. Like her plus actually can like win you the game,
Mm-hmm.
unlike the other Lily.
Yeah.
But her minus is significantly worse.
Significantly worse?
Yeah. So, like, if you have a situation where, thinking about like modern and they
Mhm.
like play a Tarmogoyf.
Well, I mean, this card's not modern playable. You're not going to play this over Lily of the Veil,
No,
but this is extremely close for Pioneer and Standard, though.
maybe. I just like the times where her minus doesn't do anything and she just kind of gets smushed. Right. Now she'll have 5 loyalty, but just like Liliana the Veil, there were a lot of times where you would like play Lily
Mhm.
down tick and get rid of the only threat on the board.
Yeah,
And this doesn't guarantee you to get rid of that only threat.
this is true.
Right. So like Liliana the Veil would like kind of clean the battlefield for herself. So
Mhm.
then her plus could take over.
Yeah.
And this might not always do that. I think the times where you are able to do that,
Mhm.
it's going to be really powerful.
Yeah.
But I think there's going to be a lot of times where like the -3 is like gives like -2, -2. And
Maybe.
then
Maybe you're
and
right.
then it's just not going to give you that. So it might be in more of a deck where you have to play like fewer threats and like more
More
answers,
answers. Yeah.
so that you can, make sure the battlefield's clear. And then you just like, you're just plussing and you're like, all right, like you have to like play every card you draw.
Mhm.
And then I'm just going to draw removal spells and kill you with the Lily plus.
Yeah, bolt you every turn.
Yeah. So I think it could be interesting.
Mhm.
It could be like um, a pioneer. If there could be like a pioneer like attrition deck.
Yeah.
I think as we've talked about before, it's super hard to play like attrition strategies in standard
Yeah.
because you're like, I get rid of all your cards, and then you're like, okay, I'll crisis make an 8/8 and draw 4 cards, and you're like, oh,
But I got rid of all your cards.
I guess this doesn't matter anymore,
Yeah.
right? So no, I think it's interesting, but I just don't know if it's going to be like ubiquitous.
Yeah.
All right.
I dig it. I think the card's sweet.
Thieves Guild Enforcer.
Yeah, I'm kind of on the fence about this one.
Yeah, this is weird. So it's a black mana for a 1/1.
Mhm. Yep.
And remember when Flash was a blue and green thing? Well, this has Flash as well. They
Right.
started giving Black Flash in like Ixalan.
I think so, yeah.
And it was like flash in and get a bonus when something died. And I was like,
Mhm.
okay, this makes sense. This has no reason to have Flash. So
Correct.
when it comes into play, or another rogue enters the battlefield under your control, each opponent mills 2 cards.
Mhm.
Okay. As long as an opponent has 8 or more cards in their graveyard, Thieves Guild Enforcer gets +2/+1 and has Death Touch. Like,
Yeah. It's really close to being good though. Like
yeah,
if this milled you when it entered the battlefield, it'd be great.
it would be. I think you have to worry about like you flash this in and mill your opponent, and they're just 2 cards closer to Uro,
Right.
and then you're like, oh,
And then they escape an Uro and it loses +2/+1 in death touch.
yeah, and you're just like, oh, I have a 1/1
Yeah.
that like was, I don't know, a desperate ritual for your
Yeah.
Uro.
Yeah.
Oh, um, if it is possible for there to be a blue black flash deck,
Mhm.
this card just goes in that deck,
Probably.
right? It fits in a blue black tempo strategy
Mhm.
where you're trying to make a biggish kind of thing, take a card with a freebooter,
Yeah.
play, what is it, Slither Wisp?
Yeah, for my Coria, yeah.
Yeah. And then just kind of get in the beats.
Mhm.
The problem is that deck loses its absolute best card in Brineborn Cutthroat.
Yeah.
And I don't know how you replace that card. Like Kite Sail Freebooter's cool and all, but it's not like a 2 mana 5/4.
Yeah.
So I think this is good, but I don't know if this is the kind of Magic we get to play anymore.
Probably not.
I would like it to be. Like, those decks are fun.
Hmm. See, this card has so many weird parallels, though. Like,
Okay.
it's kind of, what was that white card from Kaladesh?
Oh, Toolcraft Exemplar.
Yeah, like tool toolcraft exemplary, like adjacent,
So,
because of the like 1 mana 3/2.
yeah, so Toolcraft Exemplar was a 1 mana 1/1, and if you controlled an artifact, it
Was it
became
just one artifact? I thought it was like 2 or 3
maybe it's
artifacts.
two. Some number of artifacts. It got
+2/+1.
+2/+1
Yep.
on at the beginning of your combat step.
Hmm.
So this is like a big, like 1 mana threat,
Yeah.
which is good. The fact that it has flash makes it a little flexible.
Hmm. I don't
Like
know.
usually,
It's so close to being good on like a bunch of different axes, but I think it just misses on all of them.
yeah. Like I think the problem is since we have escape and like Uro is the most played card imaginable.
Yeah.
I guess it's not Growth Spiral, but it's close. Um, you can't like milling is usually like neutral
Right.
or slightly like favorable for you
Right.
because you've set up your deck to mill, or like the mill is just like whatever, it doesn't matter,
Hmm.
right? But I feel like the mill in current standard is like actively bad.
Yeah. You're just you're probably helping your opponent's game plan.
Yes.
When 8 of the top 8 decks in a major tournament are running Uro, then
Yeah.
you probably don't want to help them.
Like get their Uros back or find them.
Yeah.
Right. And I mean, then you have like Croxa. It's like, oh, well, they'll play red black. And it's like, okay, well, then you might help them get their Croxa.
Right.
So what about white cards? Well, if Elspeth's good enough.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, it just seems like the mill might be downside,
Hmm.
and like the +2/+1 is a little inconsistent.
Yeah.
So I would like it to be good. I'd
Yeah.
like this to be the kind of Magic you could play.
Hmm.
I mean, I'm sure there are the draws where you just go like this into another one, into another one, into another one, and you're attacking for 9 on turn 3. And you're
Oh
like,
yeah.
oh yeah, like the
Oh yeah, because this would trigger for, so it would trigger for itself, and then on turn 2 it'd
it would
trigger for 2 more,
2 more, like, so you where you have
and
like
then
the
each of
fervent,
them would trigger.
yeah, you'd have like the fervent champion draw
Yeah.
where like your mono red opponent plays 3 fervent champions and you just die.
Yeah.
This is kind of the same thing. You're like, take 1, take 3,
Right.
take 9. So I don't know. We want it to be good, folks.
I
We
do
just
want
don't
it to
know.
be good.
We just don't know if it is.
Yeah, I don't think it is.
All right, Chandras Pi Erlang.
Yeah, this is a 2 mana 1/3 elemental lizard, and whenever a source you control deals non-combat damage to an opponent, Chandras Pi Erlang gets +1/+0 and gains double strike till end of turn.
So this is what is the 1/3 flyer?
Chandra's something or other.
Yeah, that has the same initial text when
Yeah.
you deal an opponent non-combat damage, it gives +3/+0 or
Yep.
+2/+0.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, this is kind of the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Giving double strike can be real good.
Yeah.
The fact that it's on the ground is a problem.
Yeah, and it doesn't have trample.
Yeah, it has no kind of evasion. You're just trying to like run it into things.
Mm-hmm.
But
this can lead to super explosive draws too.
yeah, like I think we just kind of like teased out like Scorch Spitter into
Mhm.
this, into Cavalcade with a what is he called? A Fervent Champion.
Mm-hmm.
Is just like all the damage if they don't have a blocker.
Yeah.
Like I think it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 triggers or 5 non-combat damages or 4.
Yeah, it's lethal.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah.
So like this gives you those kind of draws, but other times it's a dopey 1/3 for 2 that's not playable.
Right.
So I think there's probably a spot for it in like Mono Red Cavalcade.
Yeah, like that's kind of the thing with the mono red decks too. We've talked about it in the show before, how mono red gets so much better like with every set leading up to rotation. So the bigger the standard is, the more sets that are in it, the better mono red gets. And we are currently at the biggest standard.
Yeah, and that's usually when Mono Red is best because
Yep.
it gets all those red commons and uncommons that make the aggressive draft decks work
Mm-hmm.
are now all there for you to pick the best, 22 1 and 2 drops.
Yep. And this certainly gives like you said, the cavalcade decks a shot right in the arm.
Yeah. All right. Next up. Oh, conspicuous Snoop.
Yeah, Snoop.
I missed the boat on being able to play this because I'm not going to spend like $20 for an uncommon.
The uncommons, they've come back down. I think they're $6.
Okay,
The
I could
Antes hovels though are like 26 right now, I think. They were like $5 last week.
Yeah. Okay. So conspicuous Snoop is red for a 2/2.
Mm-hmm. It's a goblin rogue.
You play with the top card of your library revealed,
Mm-hmm.
and you may cast any goblin spells from the top of your library.
Yeah, so as long as the top card of your library is a goblin, you can play it just like it was in your hand.
And as long as the top card of your library is a goblin, conspicuous Snoop has all activated abilities of that card.
Yeah.
So I think we talked about this before. This and whatever is a Boggart Harbinger.
That is the card.
Is a 2-card like turn 3 win in Modern.
Yep.
So you get the Harbinger gets a Kiki Jiki. Snoop gets the copy ability of the Kiki Jiki.
Mm-hmm.
You make an arbitrarily large number of Snoops. And then the last Snoop you have copy the Harbinger, and you put like a Mog Fanatic on top of your deck.
Yeah.
And
then it gets the ability of the Mog Fanatic.
Yeah, then all of your copies just sack themselves for 1.
Right.
That's why the hovels are $20-something.
And the uncommons from Lorwyn are $6.
Yeah.
In Kiki Jiki spiked too, I think.
Oh, it did? Okay.
Yeah.
But this is just a solid card in goblins generically.
Yeah.
And a good card in this like newfound like combo goblins.
Mm-hmm.
As Pleasant Kenobi say, com goblins.
Cob goblins.
Yeah, com goblins, yes. Combo goblins.
Got it.
Com goblins. So like you could very easily just play like the traditional like mono red goblins deck where you just have some black sources so you can oops I win.
Mm-hmm.
Or you could play more of like a red black goblins deck where you have the combo cards that you need to win, but you're playing the goblin munition expert, like the cards for Modern Horizons.
Yeah. So between the cards from Modern Horizons and the ones that we had, like was it Dominaria?
Yeah.
A lot of good goblins got kind of injected into Modern and like really needed something to tie the deck together. And this absolutely does that.
Yeah. So this is just the piece that you get to like just combo people with.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Like you can play like the traditional kind of like grindy, card advantage-y goblins plan.
Yep.
And then also have the oops, I win button in your deck. Sometimes you just look at your opening hand and go like, oh, I'm going to win now.
Mm-hmm.
So this is one that like, if it gets remotely close to cheapish, I think you should just get just because
as many as you can. Yeah.
Because it's going to be a card that's just going to be in goblins forever.
Yep. If this ever gets down to under $1, I will probably own at least 100 of them.
There you go. So once that happens, watch the spike on TCG after he buys out TCG.
It'll be my fault.
Yes. So Gadrak, the Crown Scourge.
Yeah, this is a fun one. I really hadn't heard anybody talking about this, so I kind of wanted to go over it with you. I especially hadn't heard anybody talking about this, like either in our local chat here or in the store chats.
Yeah.
So this is 2 and a red for a legendary dragon. It's a 5/4 flyer. He can't attack unless you control 4 or more artifacts. And then at the beginning of your end step, create a treasure token for each non-token creature that died this turn.
Yeah.
So what do you think about this guy?
I worry that he won't be on enough.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, at least you get a 3 mana 5/4 blocker.
Mm-hmm.
So that's good. But I don't know like what deck you build around him to make sure he's on fast enough.
So what format are we talking about? Standard?
Sure, we'll start with standard. Like I don't know. Like I mean, Ginger Brute deck.
Yeah, I mean Ginger Brute's one way to do it. I don't know what else you're playing around Ginger Brute though. Do we have any like 0 cost artifacts? Right, we have Tormod's Crypt, but that's not like super playable.
Yeah,
I mean it is, but not really where you want to be in your aggressive deck.
Yeah, the problem is like the artifacts that you might want to play, Golden Egg and Guild Globe.
Yeah,
aren't like aggressive cards, and this strikes me as a card that wants to be aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
Right, like you don't want to like be kind of like doing with your 5/4. I mean, we do have Steel Overseer, so I don't know if there are enough
constructs or artifact creatures in general.
Yeah, like Steel Overseer was last set, right? It was M20.
Yeah, it was M20.
So like you have that, then you have like some of the bad Ginger Brute, and then like the 1/1 that dies and puts a 1/1 counter on something.
Yeah, Sparring Construct.
Yeah, but like that seems like you're playing a really bad card to
what's Pinocchio?
Pinocchio is a 1 mana 0/2 that scries when it comes into play.
And it dies into a creature?
It dies into you can sacrifice it. You can exile it.
Oh, okay.
And it becomes a 1/1 human.
Mm-hmm.
It should become a 1/1 boy token, but it does not.
It should.
It's just like a 1/1 human.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like those are 2 like bad cards to try to make your 3 mana 5/4 like good.
So and what about like a different format?
It's just I don't think you want to be doing this in Modern.
No, probably not. What about Pioneer though?
I mean, you get Darksteel Citadel. Mm-hmm. You get Ornithopter.
Yeah, you also get Bulmat Courier and Scrap Heap Scrounger, which are both aggro artifact creatures.
There you go. Okay. Like I guess that if you did something like that, 1, 2, 3 into this,
mm-hmm.
on turn 4 it would attack.
Mm-hmm.
Because it would make a treasure.
Yeah.
To be the 3rd artifact, then you just have to have your 4th artifact to play.
Right.
So there could maybe be something there. But I don't know, like usually these creatures that have some sort of downside that like make you work don't end up making it.
Right.
Right. Think about Wayward Swordtooth. Like he's played to play
an extra land.
He's not played to be a 5/5. If he's a 5/5, great.
Yeah.
Right. But it's put into a land that wants a deck that wants to play a bunch of lands.
Mm-hmm.
Right. This you kind of have to have. You kind of have to have the City's Blessing.
What about in a deck like we used to play that Psy deck, the Joyra Psy?
Oh, Master Thopterus. Yeah. I mean, it would draw you a card off of a Joyra.
Mm-hmm. And you're playing a bunch of cheap artifacts.
Yeah.
I don't know. Doubled with Psy.
Yeah, I don't know if that pulls you into too many different directions where like
maybe
you have like 10 1/1 flyers. Do you really need a 5/4?
Right. What about like the new Sahili?
Maybe where like you have like Sahili and like this as
Your threats?
your threats, and you just are like, all right, Sahili, make a bunch of things, turn this guy on.
Yeah. Shock, opt, whatever.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. It's just all these creatures that like make you work hardly
Mm-hmm.
ever work out.
Right.
So
3 mana 5/4 flyers cheap though.
it is. I mean, and it gets to block.
Mm-hmm.
At least it's not like it can't attack or block because Wayward Swordtooth can't do either, right?
Right. Yeah, I can't do anything. You imagine this if Oko was still in the format, just making food every turn?
It would just be a 3/3.
Well, that's true. Yeah.
It would just be a 3/3. Teamer 3/3s.
Yeah.
All right. So next up, this is a card that people are excited for.
Mm-hmm.
I'm confused as to why.
Oh, really? I think this card's great. It's a Terror of the Peaks, 3 red for a 5/4 flyer. Spells your opponent's cast that target Terror of the Peaks cost an additional 3 life to cast. Whenever another creature enters a battlefield under your control, Terror of the Peaks deals damage equal to that creature's power to any target.
We had a very similar card to this that was playable,
Mm-hmm.
but it was 1 mana less.
Yeah, 2 red.
Yeah.
So it
So
was a 4/4.
yeah.
But it didn't have the third ability.
It didn't have the third ability. But just like we talked about Elder Gargoth,
Mm-hmm.
where we were like, it comes into play and doesn't do anything.
Right.
This kind of comes into play and doesn't do anything. And
Yeah.
like you worry about just like pay your 5 mana and then get nothing out of it.
Yeah.
And the 3 life, when you target it with a removal spell, can matter, right? If this is like the top end of like a big red deck, where if they play this,
that's kind of like what I was thinking though, is where Gargoth or whatever wants you to play like an attrition game, like a long incremental advantage game. This is Curve Topper for an aggressive deck. I think this, even though they're similarly costed and like you could, I mean, they're even comparable. I think this serves that role much better.
Yeah, I mean, Skargan Hellkite saw very little play.
Oh, this is way better than Skargan Hellkite, though.
Skargan Hellkite has haste.
Don't the Gruul decks play Domri anyway?
Domri doesn't give haste.
I thought it gave Riot.
That's big Domri.
Oh.
Little Domri, the plus gives you mana and your creature spells can't be countered.
Oh, I got
Big Domri was give you mana and your spell gets Riot.
Yeah.
No, like I think this would be in a deck where, you know, you're trying to play like 2, 3, 4, 5.
Mm-hmm.
Where you might be playing like Legion War Boss into
Questy.
Questy? Or if you were just more like mono red, big red, tectonic.
Oh, okay.
Whatever. Tectonic Giant?
Yeah. Oh, I forgot that card even existed.
Right. And then into this where like you're gonna punish them for right, where you're trying to get in damage so that the pay 3 life to target this is actually a real cost. And it's like, well, but they have to do it because if you untap with it and you play anything,
right,
they just die.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I mean, it could just be where it's got to be like, you know, Robber of the Rich, Legion War Boss, Tectonic Giant or whatever that is, and then Terror of the Peak, and that's your curve.
Yeah.
And like that's enough pressure that they can't kill this thing easily.
Yeah.
But like I don't know, like, or you know, in Gruul where if you can go like, you know, a Paradise Druid Spellbreaker or Paradise Druid Questing Beast than this, like that's enough pressure that they might, that again the 3 life cost is a problem.
Yeah.
But if there's a bunch of like Bant and like blue white running around and it's like just 8 sweeper territory,
yeah, it just doesn't do anything.
It just doesn't do anything. So like I think there can be a deck for it, but like then that deck is only good if there aren't a lot of like Shadow of the Skies.
Yeah, that's true.
So, and again, it also has the little Teferi problem.
Yeah, and not just Little Teferi, because like some of the other removal that those decks play gets around this 3 life requirement also, like Banishing Light,
Elspeth Conquers Death.
Elspeth Conquers Death. Yeah,
Yeah, just exile it, and
yeah.
it's
It's
not a
not a
big deal.
spell, so you don't have to pay 3 life.
Yeah. So, like, I would like the big dragons are usually they're not always playable, and
Yeah.
this one might be different. But like Thunderbreak Regent was, I feel like it was like
Well, Thunderbreak Regent saw play because like dragons was kind of an archetype.
yeah, but like but it didn't see a ton of play,
Right.
right? Like having the first ability
Yeah.
and being a mana cheaper,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like that card saw some play, and it's
Right.
like how much do you get out of the second ability?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I mean this card certainly isn't Glorybringer.
Yeah, it's not like hasty 2-for-1
Right.
where like that card was just nuts.
Card was great. I love that card.
Remember when you could like drive around and go to like 4 different tournaments on a weekend to get all of your promo Glorybringers?
Yeah, that was an awesome weekend.
Those are different times.
Yeah.
Now I can't go to Target without being afraid. All right. So next up, we have a twofer here.
Ooh, Wombo Combo.
Yeah, Combo Nation.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure everybody saw this, but I was scrolling through the card file and I came across Unleash Fury and said, oh, hey, this works pretty good with that other card I just saw.
Yeah.
So Unleash Fury is 1 and a red for an instant, double the power of target creature until end of turn. Not double strike, just double the power.
Which is interesting.
Yeah, it's strange. One of the other uncommons in this set is Heartfire Immolator, 1 and a red for a 2/2 with prowess, and you can pay a red and sack it to have it deal damage equal to its power to target creature or planeswalker.
So you can bash something for 6 and then throw it at someone.
Right.
Or something. Creature or planeswalker.
Right.
I
thought it was kind of neat. We also have that Stuffy Doll Goblin.
Oh, yeah.
So you could throw this at that and then dome your opponent.
Or True Fire Mentor? Is that the...
Oh, yeah. Yep, that also.
Yeah. Seems like a lot of work.
It is, but I thought it was fun and something we could talk about briefly.
And, I mean, we also have Fling.
We do. Yep.
You can double something and then Fling.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Unleash Fury might have a home in an older format somewhere to like combo kill someone. Like it's effectively Red Berserk.
Oh, it is.
Well, Berserk is green and gives trample, but the creature dies.
Right.
But your goal is to just make them dead.
Yeah.
And this is somewhere like kind of like Temur Battle Rage.
Yeah, I was just trying to think of differences between like this and Temur Battle Rage.
Temur Battle Rage gives trample.
Right. So like
and double strike. But yeah, but like
if there was like a red infect it would play that over this.
Probably. I know the red infect is the mythical infect that we've been trying to put together for years. They keep trying. They're like, "Is this good enough for you?" And we're like, "No,
no.
Take a mana off of it and give it trample."
Yeah.
But yeah. And when you get one of these cards in your pack, look closely at the gentleman who's throwing the punch.
Very closely.
You may notice something prominent about him.
Yeah, we'll leave it at that.
Yeah. But no,
what do you think about this guy with drakes?
Oh, like you mean Unleash Fury?
Yeah.
Where you've got like, a 5/5 Drake and you're just like 12 you.
Right.
I mean, it could work. Right, that deck sometimes like lacked reach or lacked the ability to like close the game quickly.
Yeah. Usually it took 2 turns. This would make it take like one turn.
Yeah.
And they reprinted Crash Through, which gives something haste and draws a card also.
Yeah, but we don't have is Crash Through haste or trample?
Oh, it might be Trample. I think you're right.
Um, but you don't have you only have one Drake.
Enigma Drake's gone? That
Yeah,
wasn't core 20?
that wasn't core 20, I don't think.
Oh, all right.
I don't think.
It was probably 19. You're probably right.
But yeah,
No, would it have been core 19? Because core 19 would have been out with Amonkhet.
I
And
think they
Enigma
were
Drake was in Amonkhet.
I think they were like in back-to-back sets. I'm not 100% sure though.
Okay.
But yeah, like something like that where you are like just making one big threat to be able to kind of turn off your clock is good.
Yeah.
So it's a card we've not seen a card I don't think worded like this in a long time.
Yeah, it's strange. Kind of what made me do a double take about it.
Yeah. I mean, among other things.
Right. Among other things.
All right. Hey, this is I think this is from the Discord.
This is from the Discord.
So Vado, Thorn of the Dust Rose.
Is it Vito?
Vito, sorry.
Yeah.
Phonics. 2 and a black for a 1/3.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever you gain life, target opponent loses that much life. And then 3 black creatures you control gain life link until end of turn.
Yep.
So like it's 3 black end the game, effectively.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Because this effectively gives all of your creatures double power.
Right, and you gain a whole bunch of life too.
Again, like we were talking about, like in a Heliod,
Daxos, a giant Pridemate
deck, like this could be good. I mean, it would also be very good if you could cast it with Linden.
Oh yeah.
Where like when you attack, you just gain a bunch of life and deal a bunch of damage.
Mm-hmm.
For anyone who's commandery out there, this an Exquisite Blood just ends the game.
Right.
If you gain a life.
Yep, it just makes a loop and you kill everybody.
So that's something to keep in mind. It does pass like my first test for the card, which was when we got asked about it initially. I said before they spoiled the power and toughness.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, if it's a 2/2, it's not playable.
Right.
It's like it needs to be like a 2/3. It kind of met me in the middle. It was like a 1/3.
Yeah.
So like it doesn't die to Shock and Bone Crusher Giant. So like it has that little bit of a cushion.
Yep.
So this is definitely one of those cards where it's like, is the rest of the deck around it good enough? Because it's probably good enough on its own.
Mm-hmm.
Just does it have the support?
Yeah, and I think that's what's going to determine if it's playable or not. Like if these life gain strategies are, something you can realistically do, then maybe.
Right, because if you're playing like life gain, you're playing again Healer's Hawk.
Oh, I just had an awful thought.
What?
What if you played this with Uro, and your Uro just turns into Siege Rhino?
I mean, you can just do gross with Uro at all times.
Right.
So, this does just make it Siege Uro. Uro Rhino?
I like Siege Uro.
Siege Uro.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, but I was thinking of in the black-white decks, Healer's Hawk, Pridemate, like this would have to take like the Linden slot because like I don't think you want to have a white card.
Yeah.
And then you have like Healers, then you have Heliod is also in there.
Yeah.
And then maybe you play 4 mana Sorin.
Oh yeah, that's pretty good too.
Because that gives all your creatures life link anyway.
Uh-huh.
So like that could be like you wouldn't have to activate this 5 mana ability. You would just like get the bash.
Right.
So there could be something. I'm trying to think what the other 1-drops would be.
Knight of the Ebon Legion.
Oh yeah. So you have that.
Cat Oven.
Cat Oven would be good. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there could be something there.
It cuts the amount of clicks from Cat down in half.
It does. does. Yay. We only have another like year of cat oven clicks. Um yeah, I mean, this could be a thing.
Hmm.
I I just worry that there's not the support, or there's just
Right.
way better stuff to do, like
Yeah.
the argument of, am I doing this and is it just a worse version of something else?
Right.
Right? Is like putting black in your deck just making your mono white life game deck bad.
Yeah.
So next up is
It's another one from Discord. It's a
okay.
invigorating surge. 2 and a green for an instant. Put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control, then double the number of +1/+1 counters on that creature.
This seems like it falls short for constructed.
Yeah, I agree. It's
Three
kind of just worse. Was it Hydra's whatever form of the Hydra?
the enchantment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's the
I
same mana cost.
But it doesn't like threaten to run away with the game.
Right.
And like usually like put 2+1/+1 counters on something, which is kind of this at a baseline
Hmm.
is usually 4 mana or has been
Hmm.
4 mana in the past. So this is a little bit better.
Yeah.
But those spells usually aren't playable and constructed.
Right.
I think that if you have a reasonable like +1/+1 counter deck in limited, this could be great.
Yeah. There are like some playable Hydras right now, though. Like we have Krasis and Voracious Hydra.
Yeah, is that still in the format?
It is, yeah, it's core 20.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, though that gets a little win more. Like your 8/8 Hydra becomes an 18/18 Hydra.
Well, right, but your 3/3 Hydra becomes a 8/8 Hydra also.
Fair.
And what about like Chamber Sentry?
They reprinted them. So sad. I've got 70 for when zero cost creatures break, but
Or Ugin's Conjurant is still in the format, right?
I think so. Yeah, that's the
The
X.
colorless.
Yeah, the X mana 0/0.
Yep.
Yeah. Again, a lot of work that's really fragile,
Yeah.
but I mean, it could be a thing.
We have Pelucranos too.
We do 24/24 Polycase. Let's go.
Well, yeah, I mean, you cast him on turn 4 or whatever, and then turn 5, you this and fight something.
Not enough mana.
Well, maybe you gotta like you cast an Uro already, and you got an extra
Okay.
land. I don't know.
I was gonna say the fight's 3 mana, but yeah, I don't know. There are things that can use that could be doubled that are like good cards, but I don't know if it's like good card plus like ant card equals good interaction.
Are Nissa lands +1/+1 counters?
They are.
So it works with that too.
There you go. Making 8/8s with your Nissa.
Yeah,
That'll end the game in a hurry.
it will.
All right, next up. This is mine.
This one's all you, buddy.
So Silver Milk Ghoul is 2 and a black for a 3/1. Just erase the casting cost. You shouldn't do that. At the beginning of your end step, if you gained 3 or more life this turn, return Silver Milk Ghoul from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. And then for some reason they gave it more text. 1 in the black, sacrifice Silver Milk Ghoul, draw a card.
Right, and you don't have to tap it.
You don't have to tap it. It's just 1 in the black, sack it.
Yep, so you can use it right when it comes out.
Okay, so this is like a card advantage engine with the second ability. And 3 life just happens to be what Uro gives you and what Creeping Chill give you.
Right.
So if you are aggressively self-milling yourself, this is just a free thing to come back if you bring back an Uro.
Correct.
And I know that, like, getting back an Uro is usually enough, or playing the first Uro, right? But, like, this could lead to draws where you especially, like, in, like, let's say Historic, barring what Jumpstart does to Historic, right? Stitcher Supplier into a thing that mills some more cards. If you hit 1 or 2 of these, and then you play your Uro and you just get like 2-3 1s on the battlefield
Yeah.
for free, like that's good enough.
Probably.
So there is a limited number of ways to get them back. Basically, it's just creeping chill and Uro, but that can be enough.
The 3-drop out of, was it Guilds? The Demir 3-drop. It was 1 black for a 3/1, and when you surveilled, you could do something. But didn't it have lifelink?
Oh, I think it did. Where like if you surveilled, like you could bring it back from your graveyard to your hand, and when it came into play, it exiled a card.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, if that has lifelink, that could work.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that has lifelink randomly.
Tribal 3/1s. It's like, oh no, whatever the 1/1 first strike guy, the hard counter to tribal 3/1s. Yeah, so I think that this could, again, like barring what happens with Jumpstart for historic, could like make a deck there and could make a deck with in Pioneer, where instead of the Sultai mid-range deck being kind of like more like grindy,
Right.
this could give it a more aggressive slant if you're like aggressively self-milling yourself, and your Uros are also bringing 6 power back with them.
Right.
And it would also just be able to grind because all of your 3/1s are just 2 mana draw a card. So,
well, I mean, this is also relevant. Like, are you thinking of playing this in Modern Dredge?
there's not, as Modern Dredge is currently built, like other than Creeping Chill, there's no way it gains life. So like,
Yeah, that's true.
if you Creeping Chill and get it back, that's great, but you're not like, Uro's like a repeatable source of life gain out of the graveyard.
Yeah, I was just thinking that. Well, I mean, you could build the deck differently. Isn't like Golgari Brown Scale? Doesn't that gain life when it dredges?
It gains 2.
Oh, it's 2.
I think it's 2.
Like this is interesting with dredge though because you can sag it to draw a card. So
Yeah.
you, when it comes back out of your graveyard, you effectively have like another dredge.
Yeah, you have 2 mana dredge. Yeah. I mean, it could be that like the right way to build dredge is instead of being a deck that has red in it for Cathartic Reunion and Faithful, what used to be Faithless Looting, Haggle, right? That it might just be like a Sultai deck where you're playing Uro and just, it's instead of being like an aggressive deck that's trying to kill you on turn 4, it's just trying to like lean more into its like grind you out plan with Uro and these kind of things. So I think this card's interesting. I think it's interesting in Pioneer, is where I first thought it could go. So anytime you get to get creatures back for free from the graveyard,
it's certainly worth another look.
It's there's usually something there. Like Arclight Phoenix.
Right. God Pharaoh's Gift.
Yes. Hey, it's Hooded Blightfang.
Yeah, this is another one from Discord.
Okay.
2 and a black for a 1/4 snake. It has Death Touch. It says whenever a creature you control with Death Touch attacks, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. And whenever a creature you control with Death Touch deals damage to a planeswalker, destroy that planeswalker. So it has Death Touch and Planeswalker Death Touch.
As a 1/4.
Is a 1/4.
I don't know if we have enough Death Touch stuff in Standard. For like tribal Death Touch. 4 mana Vraska.
Right.
The uncommon one.
Yep.
I mean, cares about Death Touch creatures.
And I think we have a couple 1/1 Death Touchers. And we have Boot Nipper that I guess is a 2 mana Death Toucher.
We've got the Sedge Scorpion. Is that it? No, Sedge Scorpion.
Yeah,
See, there's a green one.
Moss Viper.
Maybe there's a green one, like a 1-mana 1/1.
Yeah.
I mean, you could play like it could be reasonable, but I don't know if there's enough support. But I think that this card, if you like wanted to have like a Death Touch theme deck, is kind of the reason to do it.
Yeah. I'm not super high on this card. I think you're being nicer to this card than I would be.
Okay.
Not to blow up anybody's spot or anything. I'm just not sure what part of this card you're supposed to be excited about.
Yeah.
Like you said, there's not a ton of support, like Death Touch creatures that you would play anyway, and like this isn't a super good payoff for like filling your deck full of Death Touchers.
Yeah, and usually Death Touchers are pretty are underpowered
Yeah.
because they make up for it with Death Touch.
Right.
So like it's not like an aggressive deck,
Yeah.
and it's not like it's a super it's not like the either abilities give you the ability to grind super hard.
Right.
Right? You're like, it's not like if a Death Touch creature deals damage, you draw a card.
Right.
Or something. It's like yeah. So yeah, I don't think it's there, but if you want to play, all the Death Touch things, this is the reason to.
I have seen a little bit of hype about this card. There's been a little bit of buzz on Twitter. There's been a little bit of buzz on Reddit. I personally don't understand like what the buzz is for. Like I said, there's not really like any single part of this card that's calling out to me or making me excited to play it. I could be wrong.
Yeah. Next up. It's a good boy.
He's the goodest boy. This is a pack leader. This was spoiled, I believe, in the same article where they said that they were changing hounds to dogs. This is a bear, but it's a dog. It's a 1 and a white for a 2/2. Other dogs you control get +1/+1. And whenever pack leader attacks, prevent all combat damage that would be dealt this turn to dogs you control.
This includes pack leader.
It does. Because he's a dog.
He is.
Yeah.
But also a bear.
Right.
So I think we said if there are enough dogs for there to be any semblance of a dog deck, this guy's great.
Oh, he is very good.
Right? Like the second part of the text where like prevent all damage.
Yeah.
Like any other like reasonably supported tribe, if they had that as a lord, would just be ridiculous.
Absolutely insane.
So I think it's just a question of, are there enough dogs?
I don't know.
I have not gone through and looked at all the hounds that are now dogs.
Yeah.
But there's probably not in standard. Standard usually has a hard time like putting together a tribal deck.
Yeah.
Maybe this time next year when you have like a full year of
new dogs,
because I definitely think that they're making the change from hound to dog, and then I think they're going to spend the next couple sets putting in dogs.
Probably.
Right? There's going to be a lot of things that could have been like a 2/2 cat,
right,
or a 2/2 Leonin,
right, or
they're just going to be
whatever.
Yeah, they're just going to be a dog.
Yeah.
Because they have this dog tribal support that they're trying to push. So right now, I don't think he's there, but I think he could be in the future. I think that like, people that want to make a dog tribal deck that's like just for fun or kitchen table-y, like they want pack leader.
Yeah.
Right? Like, because if you do a gatherer or a scryfall search for creature type dog, like you see this and you're like, ooh, I want this one. Yeah. So
and you also, does Kahira work with dogs?
Kahira,
the green-white companion?
No.
No?
Because dog was not a creature type.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's awkward.
Yeah, so Kahira, no good. That's like dinosaurs, nightmares, beasts,
yeah,
cats, and something else.
That stinks.
Elementals?
I would have liked. Yeah, it's elementals.
Yeah. Like that would have been good.
Yeah.
Like that could have been a reasonable like curve of this into Kahira.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, get in there with your 2/2 vigilance boy.
Yep.
But this is a card I think that you can target if it gets cheap.
Oh yeah, 100%.
I think you like buy
Well,
them.
I think you nailed it when you said that second ability would make this card busted in any other tribe.
Yes.
And they're not gonna stop printing dogs. They're gonna be making dogs for a very long time now.
Yes, and I mean they've been making hounds forever,
Yeah.
and uh, and for the longest time, hound was kind of a throwaway creature type,
Right.
right? Where when they make a zombie or they make a merfolk or an elf, they're making it, and they're thinking about what that card does for
That
the
tribe.
tribe,
Yeah.
right? Or if it could be used in that tribe.
Mm-hmm.
And for the longest time, they were like, we need a creature type that has no synergies with any of the tribes that we have in this set.
Hound.
And now they're going to be like, well, nothing else in this set cares about dogs.
Right.
Can we make this thing a dog and improve the dog deck?
Yep.
And that happens enough, you end up with like, maybe pioneer playable dogs.
Maybe.
Right. So next up, another dog.
Yeah. Selfless survivor.
Yeah.
Savior. Oh. All right.
That's all right.
I don't know why I thought this was survivor.
It's hey,
Savior.
outwit, outlast.
Yeah. Whatever.
Words
are hard.
Yes. Math was hard last week. Words are hard this week.
Yeah.
So Selfless Savior is a white for a 1/1.
Yep.
And you can sacrifice it, and another target creature you control gains indestructible until end of turn.
Mm-hmm.
This is Dauntless Bodyguard, which was playable. It was playable because it was a 2/1.
And because it was a knight.
And because it was a knight. But it was a 2/1, but it could only do the sack, give something indestructible,
right,
if that creature was already on the battlefield.
Yeah, and it couldn't change the creatures. Like, it had to stay that creature.
Yeah. This, like, it can give your best creature whatever you play it indestructible.
Mm-hmm.
So you play this on turn 1, and then you play, Baneslayer Angel on turn 5. Baneslayer Angel has indestructible, quote unquote, as long as Selfless Savior is on the battlefield.
Right.
This is probably going to fit into a, like the mono white, like enchantments boggly deck.
Oh, yeah.
Because this is another, like, Alciad of Life's Bounty, but you don't have to pay mana to activate.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also kind of another God's Willing. Instead of giving protection, it's giving indestructible.
Yep.
Or, like, Fight is one.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So it's another one of these effects, but it lets you, like, play it on the installment plan, right? You can pay your 1 mana on turn 1 and then start putting pants on your thing on turn 2, and you can tap out.
Right.
Because this is already there to do the work for you.
Yep. You don't have to leave mana up every turn. Like, when I played that deck for a little bit, and one of the things I found that was kind of annoying was having to leave mana up to protect your guy.
Yeah.
Like, turn after turn. And with this, you don't have to.
Yeah, you just always kind of have it.
Yep. Indestructible also, pluses and minuses, is different than protection.
Yeah.
So indestructible isn't going to, like, get damaged through like protection would from God's Willing or Elciad or whatever. But indestructible is also going to save you from a wrath, where Elciad or God's Willing will not.
Yeah. So, like, things that target, this is worse. Mm-hmm. Things that don't target, this is better.
Right.
And the damage getting through, like, this is just stone worse.
Right.
But, like, yeah, there are some subtle differences.
Mm-hmm.
Also, imagine if Loris was still around.
Indestructible every turn.
Every turn.
Yeah.
Here's my Loris. It is now indestructible. Have you read the flavor text on this card?
I haven't.
She raised him from an orphaned pup and gave him a life of love. With his last act, he thanked her.
Oh, he's the goodest boy.
Yeah. Yeah, take that, pack leader.
Yeah.
He's better than you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So speaking of pack leader though, this is a reasonable dog. Like
It is.
how many reasonable, like I think we still need a threat, like a doggy threat.
Yeah. Like
But
you need like a powerful 3-mana like aggro dog or something.
what about, isn't there a 4 mana make 4 dogs?
That's a jumpstart card.
Oh, that's a jumpstart. That's not a core 21 card.
Yeah, that's a release
Hmm.
the dogs.
Is that what it's called?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm sure the
Oops.
playtest name was Who Let the Dogs Out, but they could not
100%.
they could not do that. The flavor text should just be who. That should just be like on the actual card, the flavor text should just be who. Yeah. All right. Scavenging ooze.
Oh, near and dear to my heart.
So card is great.
It is. Multi-format all-star. This is, if you don't know, it's 1 and a green for a 2/2. It's an ooze. You can pay a green, exile a card from a graveyard, any card from any graveyard. If it was a creature, you put a +1/+1 counter on Scavenging Ooze, and you gain a life.
So
This card is fantastic in mid-range decks for, building a threat over time, a little bit of incidental life gain, and like selectively nuking your opponent's graveyard. It's one of the best creatures in Modern Jund. It sees play in Pioneer, in the Sultai decks. It will 100% see play in all of the mid-range green slog that is standard.
Yeah, it's a question of is standard small enough for this? Right. But this does can be main deckable, and it's definitely a sideboardable card because if your opponent's an Uro deck, right, like you play a Scavenging Ooze, if they play an Uro, you just eat it. It loses that recursive ability, or you just manage their graveyard around their Uro, and you never let their Uro, you never get enough cards in their graveyard for the Uro to matter. So like it can kind of shut off that avenue of attack from the Bant and the Sultai ramp decks. But it's just a question of are they going to go too far over the top for him to really matter?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, but I think that against mono red out of the sideboard, this card gains you some life and gets to be a big threat that they can't get through.
Yeah.
Against, like I said, against the Uro decks, it's going to eat an Uro or keep the graveyard small. It's going to do all these little things that you don't realize the card does.
Right.
But
it's a Swiss Army knife.
Yes, it does a lot. Like you said, it can be a 6/6 that wins the game.
Yep.
So this card is good. The alternate art is pretty sick.
Yeah, it's awesome. I feel bad because at the last Grand Prix that we went to, I bought some M14 foils, and now I need to get rid of some M14 foils.
Yeah.
Because I need some of this extended art in my life.
Yeah, it is very good. Next up, Llanowar Visionary.
Yeah, what's this guy?
It's 2 elves in a trench coat.
It is exactly 2 elves in a trench coat.
So it is 2 and a green for a 2/2. A creature elf druid. When it comes into play, you draw a card and you tap it for a green.
It's Llanowar Elf and Elvish Visionary
stuck together. Thus the name Llanowar Visionary.
Real creative there, guys.
Real creative, guys. I think the card is fine. I think if you are a historic player, with all the elves they just printed into historic through Jumpstart.
Yeah.
Right. This definitely has a home there.
Did Shaman of the Pack get a reprint?
I don't think, but they printed Dwynen's Elite, Elvish Archdruid.
Yeah. And the new 1-drop.
And the new 1-drop, and then this are all in are all going to be in historic.
Yeah.
Plus, we have one mana elf right now
In historic?
in historic.
You don't have both of them? Oh,
No,
no, I guess we don't have
Mystic.
Mystic.
Mystic was 15.
Yeah. We do have Clan Caller, though, right?
Yes. So like there is definitely like this
Is
has a
Mystic and
home.
Jumpstart?
Not that I've seen.
Oh. I mean, it would make sense if it was.
Yeah. But you have this card is gonna go into a small format
Mhm.
elf deck.
Mhm.
Like I don't think it can push into modern.
Yeah. No,
But
there's no room in modern elves for this.
yeah. But in like Pioneer or Historic, this probably has a home.
Mhm.
So and it's just a generally good card. Like it does what modern cards have to do, right?
Right.
Or what basically all the ramp they've printed for the last like 2 years does. It
It
draws
draws
you a
you a
card
card.
and ramps you.
Yeah.
Like you keep a hand of all ramp, and you're like,
Yeah.
oh, I guess I'll see 7 new cards before I have to worry about casting my threat,
Yeah.
and I'll find my threat.
Yeah.
Back in my day, all of your ramp just ramped you.
Right.
And you were like, oh man, I really hope this rampant growth gets the land out of my deck and I have a slightly higher chance of drawing my threat.
Yeah.
Not just like, oh, I'm going to just draw cards and I'll find it.
Back in my day, explosive vegetation only got you 2 lands. It didn't also cycle when you didn't need it to get you 2 lands.
Yeah. So
This card's great, like for limited too, though, right?
oh yeah, I think
Like
for
it's just
sure.
a slam dunk and limited.
Yeah, like any creature that replaces itself is good, and the fact that this
Yeah.
also ramps you
Yep.
is kind of absurd. Like think about how good like Cloudkin Seer was.
Yeah.
This is like a Cloudkin Seer. We take off flying, we give it an extra point of toughness, and it taps for mana.
Yeah.
Sure. Seems well balanced.
Mm-hmm.
Quirion Dryad.
This is an old school card.
This used to be like a vintage playable card.
It was legacy playable too.
So this is 1 on a green for a 1/1, and you're like, are you guys high? How is this playable in anything? Whenever you cast a spell that is white, blue, black, or red, put a +1/+1 counter on Quirion Dryad.
So anything that's not green.
Yeah, so basically, there was a type of deck called Xerox, which was you just cast a bunch of like cantrips and went through your deck and put counters on this and a card we talked about earlier, sometimes a lore scale coatl.
Yep.
Right? So you just all these creatures that wanted you to cast spells or draw cards, you just played them and they got huge. And so this probably supports that kind of archetype or something similar in limited. I don't know if there's something good enough in constructed for it.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think this randomly also saw play like in some of the early Rug Delver decks.
I think so.
Yeah.
Remember was it Deep Root Elite? Like the 1/1 that
better
like,
version of this that didn't do anything, right?
Yeah, that didn't do anything.
Yeah.
It was like a rare.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think this card is interesting. Like it does have like a history of being played, but that history was 10 to 15 years ago.
Yeah. Before creatures were good.
Like make your own 6/6. And now it's just like pay 3 mana, get a 6/6.
Get a 6/6.
Draw you cards. Cool. Gain you life. Also cool. All right. Spark Hunter Mastercore. So this is 3 mana for a 3/4.
Yep.
And it has the Mastercore downside.
Right.
Which is as an additional cost to cast a spell, discard a card.
Okay. That's a pretty big downside.
That is a pretty big downside. But it gets protection from planeswalkers.
No, so you can't Teferi bounce it.
Can't Teferi bounce it. Passes the Teferi test.
Yep.
It deals 1 damage. It pay 1 and it deals 1 damage to target planeswalker.
That's pretty good.
So it just kind of eats planeswalkers.
Yep. Machine guns them down.
And you can pay 3 mana and it'll gain indestructible to end of turn.
Okay.
I think that the fact that kind of survives Teferi is important.
It's very important.
The I've heard different people talk about the fact that the discarding a card might not be as big a downside in current standard because
When
a
you're
lot of
trying to escape.
well, when you're trying to escape, or you're just a lot of games in standard, you have a lot of cards in your hand,
Yeah.
right? Because of your Urrowing and Growth Spiraling, like all of your cards are cantrips,
Right.
so you're never really are down a card. So like it's not as big a deal. Like if you were playing a normal standard,
Mm-hmm.
where on turn 3 you might have 5 cards in your hand.
Yeah.
Right. This is a lot bigger deal than now. It's like you have 7 cards in your hand. It's just what you do.
Yeah.
So this could be like a sideboard card against like controlling decks that are planeswalker heavy,
Mm-hmm.
right? That are going to rely on a 3 mana Teferi
Yeah.
to
Clean up
kind of
the
control
board.
the board. Yeah. The indestructible ability just costs too much.
Yeah, I think so too.
Right? If it was like 1, right, then you would have the play pattern of like on turn 4 you could play Spark Hunter Master Core
Mm-hmm.
and have up 1 mana to give it indestructible to play around like a Shadow the Sky.
Right.
But now you don't have that kind of play pattern.
I think even 2 mana would make it like okay. 3 mana is just too much though.
Yeah, it's just a little too much to have to hold that up.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. It's a type of protection we've never seen before.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of feel like this card might be good just because, right, they're trying to print a lot more cards that interact with planeswalkers.
Yeah.
And like this,
you mean
seems
after
like,
the set that had 30 something planeswalkers in it?
and they had no good ways to kill them.
Yeah.
Yeah, after that set,
Yeah.
they thought a year later maybe we should like adjust.
Yeah.
I will say though that like the fact that they've tacked or planeswalker
Mm-hmm.
on a bunch of cards in this set that normally wouldn't have that ability,
Right.
I think shows that they are listening to people
Mm-hmm.
that are like, you can't just give me Doomblade when my opponents only play planeswalkers.
Right.
Right? I have to play Doomblade because of Embercleave
Mm-hmm.
and Mono Red. But then there are just times where my Doomblade does stone nothing and I get buried.
Yeah.
You have to give me a card that lets me deal with both.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't have it on our list, but that's Eliminate.
Right.
The 1 in the black, kill a creature, converted mana cost, kill a creature or planeswalker, CMC 3 or less.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's not a kind of card we've like seen that's just like purely like black.
Yeah.
Like, 2 mana. And then the new Flaying Tendrils or whatever I don't know what it's called.
Oh, yeah.
1 black, all creatures get -2/-2, or remove the 2 loyalty counters from planeswalkers.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's not a card we've ever seen anything like.
Yeah.
And I think that's a response to War of the Spark. It just takes a year in development to get those responses made.
Yeah. Now, War's leaving in September, right?
It is. Yay, no more Little Teferi.
Yeah. It's kind of strange that we're getting all these like Planeswalker hate cards with only like 3 months left in this standard.
Yeah.
I wonder if they're going to do another Planeswalker set.
Please no.
Yeah.
It might just be that they didn't realize how good the Planeswalkers were.
Mm-hmm.
And then people were complaining about them, and this was the first time they could get the answers into standard.
That might be also.
And also, like, this format's supposed to have Oko.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this kind of answers Oko, right?
It does not become an elk.
It does not become an elk.
You have to dump all your mana into it on turn 4 and turn 5. And
kill an Oko.
Think you kill an Oko?
Yeah.
I'm not 100%. You might have to be on the play for that to be true. Because, like, he went up to 5?
Yeah.
So, okay. Now I put him at 2. And if they don't have a blocker, you get to kill the Oko.
Yep.
If they have a blocker, he goes up to 4. You have to spend your entire next turn. Because they definitely have an Oko, a blocker then, because they turned their food into a 3/3. So you only had to play like 4 mana or 3 mana the next turn.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It also blocks a Gideon.
It does. You're right. Just boom.
I don't know
Blocked.
when the last time somebody played a Gideon against me, but
This does take care of a Gideon.
yeah.
But like eliminate would, is good against like, Oko if it was still a card in the
Yeah.
format. Gideon on your turn, Teferi, Narset. Like it fills a need.
Yep.
So it is good that they have like listened to people that were like, this is awful.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Next up. 9 lives.
Yeah. Meow.
So I asked for this card
You did.
because this card is some percentage of Phyrexian Unlife.
It is.
And in Pioneer, Solemnity is legal.
It is.
So 9 lives is 1 white for an enchantment that is hexproof. If a source would deal you damage, prevent that damage and put an incarnation counter on 9 lives. So it doesn't matter if you got dealt 1 damage or 1 million damage.
Mm-hmm.
1 counter goes on 9 lives.
Right. 1 life gone.
1 life gone. When there are 9 or more incarnation counters on 9 lives, exile it. And then when 9 lives leaves the battlefield, you lose the game.
Mm-hmm.
So Solemnity is 2 and a white. Permanents can't get counters. Permanents and players, but permanents can't get counters. So if you go 9 lives into Solemnity, you just can't take damage until they remove your enchantment.
Right. And this one has hexproof.
And this one has hexproof, so they have to remove the Solemnity.
Yep.
Now, you are weak to, like, if Plain Air Cleansing or, was it?
Yeah.
I forget what it's not Return to Nature.
Back to Nature?
Just
1 in a green, destroy all enchantments?
Yeah. So something like that, like, it's been fun.
Yeah.
But
GG's.
But you do have this, like, and you have a buffer. Like, if they only have, like, 1 threat, you can 9 lives and, like, get hit a couple times before you draw your Solemnity.
Yeah. You can kind of last ditch cast it.
Yeah. This is like this is bad against go wide strategies, right?
Yeah.
If they have 5/1/1s,
yeah,
it takes half of your 9 lives.
Mm-hmm.
And then you just die the next turn. So, it's but it does combo well with Solemnity and could lead to like some sort of like white prison type strategy where you like just are like mono 3 drops.
So when we first started talking about this card, you were comparing it to Phyrexian Unlife.
Yes.
Which is used in a very different deck than a prison-y white card. So is there anything like you would use a Phyrexian Unlife for that we can use this for?
So Unlife, it's like you can't lose the, what is it? It's not can't lose the game. Right, having less than 1 life doesn't cause you to lose the game.
Right.
And damage is dealt in poison counters.
As long as you have 0 or less life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what that allows you to do is to pay life.
Yeah.
Because life is not damage. Because it's where like damage gives you poison counters.
Right.
So you pay a bunch of life. So I don't know. I guess this is also deal damage. So like.
Oh, and this doesn't stop you from losing.
Yeah.
This just stops damage.
Yeah. So like if you were to, like, loss of life is damage.
Yeah.
Right. So.
No.
You would still.
Damage is loss. Loss of life isn't damage.
Okay. So you could still pay life.
Yeah.
And not have this accrue a counter.
Right.
So I can't think of anything that we like pay life for in like recent sets.
Right, but this doesn't stop you from losing the game.
True. Oh yeah, true. So you can't go to like -50. What
right.
You can with Phyrexian Unlife.
Right.
Yeah, so Phyrexian Unlife is having less than 0 life does not lose you the game.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, this like if you were dealing yourself damage,
in big chunks.
in big chunks, or again, you had solemnity and some way to do yourself damage that you could, like, if it was like, deal like lose 3 life.
Is Command the Dreadhorde damage or loss of life?
Think it's damage, but I'm not sure.
Well, then that's pretty cute.
Yeah, that could be interesting. So, yeah, I was thinking more of like prisoning strategy.
Yeah, like a
Solemnity.
worship kind of thing.
Yeah, kind of like a build your own worship.
Yeah.
So that's the thought process there. Why this could be. I don't think it has a home in standard or anything.
Yeah, I don't think so.
All right, next up.
Did you notice that the things in the background there?
There's Savannah Lions. There's what's her name?
Miri. Yeah. Ajani.
Ajani.
Ajani's brother.
I didn't know Ajani had a brother.
Yeah, something with a J, I think.
Okay, just Johnny.
No, I don't know. He's a commander card.
Okay.
I didn't know if you knew they were actually like.
They're actually characters.
Yeah.
There's like 8 of them, and then this cat.
Right.
Makes 9.
Yeah.
So.
I think Ajani'd be pissed if he turned into that cat, though.
But he would have both eyes.
This is true, but he wouldn't have Elspeth's cape.
True.
Giant axe.
I didn't know he had Elspeth's cape, so.
Yeah, like the cape that he's always wearing is Elspeth's.
I did not realize that.
Yeah. Man.
I'm not
teach you everything.
I'm not deep in the lore, man. I mean, maybe Elspeth watched The Incredibles and was like, no capes. And it was like, capes. You're trying to take my cape. I've sworn off capes now. All right. Next up, this was the last minute edition. I already flipped forward, so you've already seen it, but.
Spoiler alert.
Ugin the Spirit Dragon.
Big Daddy Ugin.
This is the thing to ramp into. Like,
Yeah, 100%.
Probably like 2 of in a lot of ramp decks.
Yep. We used to ramp into Agent of Treachery. Now we ramp into Ugin.
We didn't ramp into Agent of Treachery. We cheated it into play.
No, we ramped into Agent of Treachery once upon a time.
This is true. We played Good Fair Magic.
Yeah.
Where we cast 7 drops on turn 5. Other people were like, no, we're going to not do that. Free. Want to pay no mana for this.
Yeah.
So Ugin can just kind of be like the big end game for the format.
Yeah. It protects itself really well with the neg ability, neg X. Yeah. It exiles every non-colored permanent with CMC X or less. So it just clears the board, ticks up super quick, dealing damage on its way up. And then, like, if your game somehow survives to his ult wins you the game.
Yeah. Which is you gain 7, you draw 7, and then you put up to 7 permanents from your hand onto the battlefield.
Yep.
And for those of you who don't know, it's kind of the opposite of the Nicol Bolas Planeswalker, the original Bolas Planeswalker.
One. Yeah.
Which is like your opponent loses 7, discard 7, sack 7 permanents or something.
Yep.
So, card's good.
Really good.
It's just going to be the thing that you ramp into. So things to remember, I think you brought this up before. Nissa lands are colorless.
They are. So
you just get, you can play Nissa and then you could clear her away, but the lands stay.
Mm-hmm.
He does have a blind spot to, it's like Sorcerer Spyglass.
Yeah.
Right? Like you Spyglass him, or if something else is Spyglass, he can't get a Spyglass.
Right.
So, Spyglass might be slightly more playable if we're ramming into Ugins.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. But I wanted to put this one on here because this is the big headliner from the set, and it's definitely going to see play.
Yeah, and the extended art and alt art versions or whatever are going to be worth a fortune. So, if you see them, good luck.
Hold on. Yes.
Yeah.
I think that's all the cards from the set.
I think so.
I don't
It
think
was
we
a
missed anything.
full episode. No,
Yeah.
I don't think we missed too much. I mean, and we could talk about every card in the set if we really wanted to, but I
I'm
think
sleepy.
yeah, me too. I think we caught most of the heavy hitters, and we caught everything that anybody had asked for on Discord. I think we did a pretty good job.
Yeah. So, let's get us back to being like visible people. Hi,
Ooh,
people.
hey,
So with
sit up for
that,
this.
yeah. With that, I think that's our show.
Yeah.
If you want to tweet at us what you're excited about, if you think we missed something, get at us at Casual Tripod on Twitter.
Yep, you can find us on Facebook at Casual Tryhard MTG. Shoot us a message there, and you can yell at me about how good Hooded Blightfang is after I said it was unplayable. You can also shoot us an email, show@casualtryhardmtg.com. Don't forget about our TCG affiliate link, tcg.casualtryhardmtg.com. They have pre-orders up for all the Core 21 cards if you want to pre-order something. You sent me an article right before we started recording about maybe some pre-sale specs.
Yeah.
Prices were low on some cards right now. That article is from TCG Player, so if you want to head over there and check out that article and then maybe order some cards.
That was a part 2.
Yeah.
I kind of scanned part 1, and they kind of went over some price histories from the last couple core sets for you to look at, like what the cards did long term. So,
yeah. So check that article out. Like I said, if you're going to buy any specs or anything else, use that link and we'll get a very small sliver of whatever you spend there. Helps to keep the show going. If you wanted to support us a little bit more directly, don't forget about our Patreon, patreon.com/casualtryhardmtg. We don't have too many perks, but we do have the finance room in our Discord server. You are going to get to see our beautiful faces chatting before this episode. We'll post that up there. We did a little bit about last week's episode, a little bit before the episode that we threw up on Patreon. So if you're a Patreon, head over there and check that out. If you would like to hear or see some of that, you can head over there and sign up to be a patron. Help the show out. Do we have anything else going on?
I don't think so.
Bear with our, subpar, not our normal production quality for this episode.
It's kind of hard to be locked into a small studio.
Yeah.
In these trying times.
Right. And the guy that normally does, our friend Juan, that normally does the cards and, makes everything look pretty with the backgrounds or whatever, he's tied up this week. So we were on our own this week.
So yeah, this is my man cave behind me. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, this is my loft. So you can't see everything else, but there's big open behind me.
Yes.
There's about a 20-foot drop behind me.
Ooh, dangerous.
Ooh. Good thing I don't have a cat that be flicking things off.
Oh, no. Or jumping down, God forbid.
Oh, yeah, don't do that. Bad idea.
All right. And with that, I think that's the show, and we will see you on the internet.
Yep, we'll catch you guys in Discord.